hours, about an hour and a half. We've got some prep work already done, so let's go over it and wrap things up. So we were left with quite a side tangent at the end of the last game. We were going through a dungeon. Players found a sword called Tear that can open a gate to another dimension. They don't know where that is, but the Warforged Artificer Crag took Tear and opened a hole in a room that had kind of this like rock beach biome kind of a deal. Successfully opened a portal in midair right there inside of this little room that led to that place that the room had depicted. Crag looks at the rest of the party, says a one-liner, steps through. 3 of the 5 remaining players also decide to step through, leaving 2 behind. These 2 were staunchly against going through it and saw it as a complete distraction to this distraction of being in this dungeon in the first place. They decide to leave the room where the portal is still open. They leave the room. They go down another staircase to go deeper into the dungeon. They scout some things out. They see a ghost on a throne that's above a whole pile of bones in a desecrated throne room. They find this gigantic room filled with sand, and there's a dragon skeleton lying in it. Then they walk into another room that I had put one of the heavier traps in. One of the players had begun searching around, looking for any traps, failed the DC to find it. The trap triggered. It summoned a demon and set a force cage in the center of the room, trapping the player who was searching in with the demon inside of a force cage. The other player is just outside of the room, but can see everything happening. And that is where we left game. Luckily, I have talked to both of the players and made sure that they do not feel hopeless about this situation. And I think we're going to have a very interesting and dramatic outcome coming from all of this. I don't want to spoil it yet. But the possibilities, and I'm not entirely sure how it's going to go, but I have an idea. The possibilities of what could happen are extremely interesting and something that I've never experienced as a player in my 10 years of playing D&D. But this will be really cool, and I hope we can pull it off well. The rest of the players who stepped through are on a somewhat familiar plane to maybe some of you watching, called Ikoria. Ikoria is a realm split into 5 regions that all have their own unique set of ecosystems. In Ikoria, there are these crystals that seem to grow throughout the realm. Different color crystals and different sizes depending on which region you're in. Our players find themselves in the region of Raugrin. They are right on the coastline of the massive inland sea called Atial. And they have basically spent enough time to look around their direct surroundings, see the odd shapes of stone formations, take in the sea breeze, and notice the little crystals. Let me find a nice photo for all of you. Those are notes. Let's see here. So Raugrin's an interesting place, dominated by vast mountainscapes. There's not a whole lot of plant growth, but it's not barren. There's a lot of excuse me. There's a lot of rivers and streams. There are some lakes hidden away. There's also quite a few active volcanoes throughout the region. There are lava vents and the rivers of lava that kind of continuously go. One thing of note about Ikoria is that it is extremely sparsely populated. Not many. There's not much civilization in Raugrin, and a lot of it are ruins of civilizations that failed. As per Ikoria canon, and Ikoria is not my own original idea, but there's also not a whole lot of detail written about it in the original IP. So I am taking creative licenses and going way farther and way deeper into my own interpretations of the groundwork that was laid out. So this is a picture of a Raugrin coast. I put little figures down here and highlighted it to show the players the scale of things and about how big they are in comparison to everything around them. I've got some cool things. So they got a little bit of exploring to do. We've got like their immediate surroundings, so I can describe different things to them, including the crystals, the rock formations, sand, some weird creatures flying around. They're gonna look up the coast, look down the other side of the coast, see how it goes. I have a note in here that, and I know this is taboo for some DMs, but I have a note in here of whether they go up or down, they're going to run into the next thing, because they need to run into this next waypoint. On the map, they are choosing whether to go, let's see, north or south. So actually, let's open up the Ikoria map. Don't mind all the custom cards. I'm in the middle of creating my own powered vintage cube, so that's what all that's about. Where is it? Give me 1 second. It's a huge file too. I might just re-download it. It might just be quicker. Ikoria maps. Yep, there it is. It's a massive file. I think I made it like 48,000 by 32,000 at 300 DPI, so I could actually zoom in on it. But it's a hand-drawn map. I could definitely use some cleaning up. Here's the map. We'll give it some time to load. So it's a doozy. Actually, let's just open it in Photoshop. You guys are right. It's gonna take a minute. All right. So I'm putting them. I think I'm gonna put them somewhere around here. So here are the 5 regions, right? Raugrin, this place dominated by mountains. A lot not seen past the mountains, and I've got a lot of fun kind of events for them to run into as they traverse through Raugrin. Ketria is this place dominated by mountains and jungles, so think just like the most extreme ecosystems in like Thailand and China, where it's just like hot, jungly, foresty. There's some like more open places with grasslands, but everything's just like really extreme in elevations, going up and down. Really cool. I have this area down here, endless sea of trees, which is like this valley then opens up to this just like insane opening of dense trees. I saw a really cool photo on a Google image search, and I was like, I'm gonna throw that in. I don't know what it does, but it's gonna be part of that. We'll see if they ever get there. Moving north of Ketria, we have Zagoth, which is just like the most lush area you could possibly imagine. It's dense jungle. It's enormous trees you could live inside of as a normal-sized human. Like you could build a city inside of the tree. It's so big. There are fungal forests hidden inside. All kinds of everything is in Zagoth. Think of just like a primordial oasis where just like anything can grow. Creatures across all of Ikoria are prone to mutations, whether that is a mutation over time, natural selection, or mutations like in the moment of it's fighting another creature. And it would be really, really good if it had a horn in a certain area, and a horn will begin to grow in the moment and form right there. So this is a wildly diverse plane, dominated by creatures. I do have little brown areas all over, which I'm thinking are going to be settlements or ruins of settlements. Red are the roads connecting them. We have the Bay of Whispers, which I think is going to be a fun kind of place of madness and crazy sea creatures and stuff. Above Zagoth, we have Indatha, which is supposed to be this like place of old ancient swamps and plains and ancient forests. This will have like the most interesting of fungal regions. This place also just has like alien nightmares and like just the weirdest of the weird stuff is in Indatha. This is also the most magical of magical places is in Indatha. There'll be a place called Everdark where there is never light. It is always night, and it is an exceptionally dark night. Moving across from Indatha, it'll become less jungle, swampy, and become more just like open fields of grasslands. Then we get to fields and deserts. So we have the shifting sands going all over here. Kind of a natural barrier, extremely dangerous for basically anything that's not a sandworm to exist in. We have a Glundo Gorge, which is just this massive crevice in the earth, kind of making a natural barrier between the two regions, along with these scattered mountain ranges. Savai is this place that's just like pinnacle fantasy region where they have like arching like circular mountains that like some of them touch, some of them don't touch. There's big ravines hidden everywhere. It's basically the African savanna, just like across this whole place. The largest city is Dranith in Savai, which is this like castle-like structure built around a mountain-sized singular crystal, which glows and vibrates as creatures approach and serves kind of as like an early warning system. But because of its size, they get like a enormous like regional warning system. Then there's going to be like some fishing towns down here, a larger town that would kind of trade with them. This is basically like the only real civilizational structure outside of Dranith in Savai. There's nothing in Indatha. There is Orn, but it's not going to be known about by anyone else. Ketria is a bunch of failed places, and then there'll be one kind of like metropolis split over this river that I have a really cool photo for. And then in Raugrin, going down the Jalkorcha, I definitely could have made a better name for that. This is like the only real road in Ikoria. and it's the main trading post between the two big sanctuaries of Lava Brink and Draneth. Lava Brink is built into the side of a volcano, and they've irrigated the lava to kind of just flow around the city. They also use the lava as heat source and a material source to craft and smith with. And they also have lava mancers that manipulate the lava to help protect the city from beast attacks. And that's really about it. There's going to be like a coastal town just off of there as well, just because it would make sense. There will be another kind of town in this bay just off of Lava Brink as well. I think I'm going to make this a ruined town, and I don't know what to do with this one yet, but we'll get to it when we get to it. Now that you guys have had a bit of the tour, forget these shapes are really dumb. The players are in fact... Players are going to be right here. Okay. We're going to put this... they're going to look down either side of the coastline, right? They're going to see that the coast kind of like arches back and then goes on a bit, and then they're going to see this one comes to a pass and then cuts. And then it's just thick mountain range behind them. So I'm going to guess they're going to go to the right, but they can totally go to the left. If they go to the left, they're going to run into the end of this roadway much quicker, or if they cut through the mountains, they'll get to this roadway. If they go to the right, they're going to see a lot more kind of wilderness before popping out here. And this will probably be over like a couple sessions before they get to here. Just to kind of set in how massive this place is. Like, Lava Brink to Draneth is probably like... I'm saying like a lot, I'm very sorry. Lava Brink to Draneth is roughly 5 weeks worth of foot travel. Call it 3 weeks by horse. That's a really long time. Maybe that's too long. Maybe we'll say 2 and 4. It's like I want it to be just like exceptionally long. You're going like across all of continental China, right? In one go. Or maybe even worse. Maybe you're trying... No. How long do you think it would take to go across Russia from west to east? Probably far too long than I would want. Anyway, we don't have to worry about that yet. So, we've got them here. With them there, off in the distance, they'll find basically a ruined library that's been crumpled by a beast that rampaged through. Inside, they'll find a bunch of like fabricating scrolls. So things like stone shape, move earth, transmute mud to rock, and control water. So they'll be able to make their own little like rock or mud outpost if they want to. If they roll high enough, they'll also find a wizard spellbook that'll have a bunch of transmutation and divination spells, just because I think those will be the most useful coming up. And those are also just like really solid spells that players often, myself included, often skip over because it's just like, but I could have Fireball, right? So those will be really useful, and they'll just have them anyway. And if they roll exceptionally well, they'll see that there's actually like a living quarters downstairs, and this was just like a whole little shack. While they're in there, there's going to be these little things called... where are they? Like 16 or something? Yeah. Asabis. These like little lizard folk looking things. 2 of the little ones are going to like salamander around and scurry up towards the players, not being super sneaky. They're going to like try and be sneaky at first, but not be all that sneaky. Reveal themselves, kind of inspect the players for a bit, and then just leap back and run away. If the players give chase, they will run into the party of Asabi and Stingtails waiting for them. If they don't run away, this party will come over the ridge that they're kind of hiding behind, and reveal themselves that way and attack. There will be 5 Asabi, 2 Stingtails, and 1 half Rust Dragon Lizard Folk. This half Rust Dragon Lizard Folk will also summon a pretty crazy looking dinosaur. I think it's in Monster Manual 2. We still have to make this half dragon thing, just so we have some stats on it that we can play around with. Dinosaur. Maybe it's not in Monster Manual 2. Where did I see this thing? Is it in 3? Yes, it was. You're going to summon a Blood Striker, which is just this crazy Biceratops with acidic blood and spiked skin that, like, if you hit it unarmed or with a melee weapon without reach, it kind of bites back. It's got to charge in, break into the library more, causing it to cave in. And it's just going to be this brutal fight. The little guys are going to climb on top of rocks and shoot arrows into them. The Stingtails are just going to move right in and go for combat. And they're just going to try and kill the party. I doubt they're going to be successful. They're not going to be successful. The biggest problem is going to be the Blood Striker that gets summoned. But knowing this party, they'll be able to take care of it. Because in the library, before they do all the searching, I kind of skipped over this, is going to be one of our players' new characters. The player who is trapped in the force cage is likely going to die. There is a 90% chance that player is going to die. I gave him a heads up, and he created a new character that I think is going to fit this group a little bit better as well. So inside, he is going to meet, or the party is going to meet this new character. In Illumian, I've already introed Illumians in the very first game we did. In the one shot that became not a one shot, which is the campaign that we're in now. So they're already kind of friendly with the Illumians, and I think they'll be very accepting of him basically right off the bat. Depending if another one of our characters is ready, the previous Goliath player is ready, I'll intro his character in at around the same time as well. So with this party plus 1 or 2, they'll get attacked. They'll fight it all off. They'll kind of bond over that. They'll know they're defending each other. And then they move on. So going back to the notes. So they take care of the Asabi scouting party. Talking more about the general area. They're going to see a kind of like a combat between beasts out in the sea, where there's going to be, and it's going to be way off in the distance, so it's going to be hard to see any details, but they'll see these figures moving about, birds swirling around, swooping, and then this just giant serpent's going to come out of the water, grab at the birds, go back down. Then a bird's going to shoot out of the water, swing around, and then just start firing lightning into the water at the serpent. Kind of setting the tone that shit is fucking wild here. You've got birds that are also part elemental. You have dinosaurs. You have elemental dinosaurs. You have dinosaur birds. You have... And that's not even going into Indatha and all the nightmares and dark walkers over there. So we'll see this whole scene. We'll set expectations with that. Moving on. things are going to cool down a bit. The winds are going to get a little stronger. And there's a big cloud front approaching over from the sea. Quick survival check. They'll know about when the storm is going to come. Otherwise, they just know a storm is coming. Storm comes in. I got to write those mechanics out for me to just quickly relay to them. Which I assume they're going to build a shelter. If they don't, it's even easier to judge things, but it's going to be a lot worse off for them. These players really need to understand that they need to build shelter. They slept out in the Arctic mountains, high in altitude mountains, and all got extremely cold. Some of them became hypothermic, and hopefully they will learn to still build shelters. Thing is this storm is a doozy, and it's gonna have a flash flood. So an hour into the storm, about an inch of water is going to accumulate on the floor. About 2 hours in, it's going to be about a foot. We're just okay, this is picking up, but it's not the craziest thing. 3 hours in, flash flood. Basically, a tsunami from up in the mountains comes down. A partial landslide, almost. And it's going to sweep away any wooden structures that they have built. Strength checks to stay inside, swim checks to just remain stable inside of this rush of water. Otherwise, they're going to take damage every turn they're in the water until they hit the coast, which then they are swept out into the water. And then an hour after that, the flash flood begins to subside and then dwindles for the next several hours. If they build their shelter out of stone, because they have all these stone shape and move earth and mud to stone scrolls, they will be able to weather this flash flood and just experience it as it rushes by around them. Hopefully they will also know that they can try and use control water to lower the water level around them, so that maybe they can get out of this flash flood. They can also use mud to stone to create a stone break wall in front of them, so that then the rest of the flash flood has to flow around this stone wall. It's a lot of options. They're not helpless by any means. But it's also not up to me to tell them how to get out of it. But I have baked in several options, so I know that I'm not just accidentally throwing something in there with very few options to get out of. Alright, we also need to come up with what the crystals do, big thing, and mechanics for the storm. So let's get into it. So here I've got weather on our handy dandy DM screen. Precipitation, snowstorm, rain, heavy snow, sleet, hail. I feel like there should be something for hurricanes and all that other good stuff. Oops. Just got rid of our music. Yeah, I'm making my way through Naruto as well. You guys are getting all the peeks behind the scenes. Yeah, let's go back to that playlist. Alright. Yeah, so let's look at Stormrack, which is a book written all about storms, go figure, and just open sea and ship combat and all of that kind of stuff. If they get swept out to sea, there are drowning rules, there's swimming rules, they can be tired. Let's see. Naval combat, we don't need. Not doing any dungeons. See, they say into the maelstrom. I don't see a whole lot about the weather. Like the actual maelstrom. Maybe it comes later. Let's look at the index real quick. Is there really no index? Counter tables. And then it just goes into other dungeons. It's nice that there's like pre-built dungeons though. That's kind of cool. Kind of like this. Hall of Witches. Suitable for characters 5th to 7th level. Sounds pretty good. Hag Caverns. I'm about it. I might throw some of these in. That's kind of cool. Creatures. It's going to be spells. Yep. Weapons and armor. A harpoon is fucking awesome. That's one of the best weapons ever made in 3.5. Cutlass. That's not that crazy. We got boats, we got feats, we got skills, got classes, then we'll have races, and nothing about the weather. That's awfully depressing. Really? Wind and weather. Just 93 of the DMG. Okay. I thought they would have expanded on it. Let's go to 93. Whoop. Let's look at 2 at a time. Weather. Downpour. Treat as rain, but conceals as fog. Powerful storm. Interesting. Very high winds, torrential precipitation, reduce visibility to 0, making spot search and listen checks, all ranged attacks impossible. Very low. Okay, we have wind effects. So we can say it is a rainstorm plus severe winds. Let's see. We can say strong winds. 30-mile-an-hour winds is still pretty big deal. So it knocks down tiny or smaller. No, let's do severe. 30, well, let's say 40-mile-an-hour winds. So it knocks down tiny and small creatures. Or tiny get blown away. Uh-oh. Miku. Medium creatures get checked. Checked is a creature unable to move forward against the force of the wind. Flying creatures are blown back. I like that. Just an insane amount of wind. Yeah, hurricanes considerably larger. Which I kind of want to hit them with a hurricane at some point. If they stick around the coast for a long time, they'll definitely see one. Right away, maybe not. Unless this game feels pretty lackluster, but I kind of doubt it will. They're gonna watch one of their characters get slaughtered by a demon and try and figure out what the hell to do with this new place with almost none of their stuff. Yeah, it should be good. All right, so for the weather, and I do have the wind, I believe. Yeah, I've got the wind right here. Okay, so we'll do heavy rain. Oh, I got the hiccups. So storm comes in. Got rain. And we've got crazy winds. Severe, right? Yeah. Yeah. Severe winds. What is the fort save about? Tinier, smaller fort save. See, it starts at strong. I don't see what the fort save is about. Let's look back at the DMG. Oh, okay. There's actually a specific section on storms that we've not incorporated. Let's add that to our DM screen. Yeah, fuck it. We'll add all of them. I think we have room for all of it. Oh, I just got rid of the first part. Idiot. Okay, so we have the weather next door. Actually, get rid of it. Delete. Please. Why can't I get rid of it? Yes. I gotta be super zoomed in. EMG. Can we fit it all in one? Barely. Might be able to do 110. Oh. Yeah, just barely. Okay, cool. Snipping tool, super underrated. All right, let's get that in here. Let's get the top little snippet we left behind. Oop. Got about an hour. I think we'll be fine with everything we've got prepared. We usually fall short of what I have prepared for the night. Which, funny enough, usually leads to easier prep the next week as well. But I think player death, moving to a new place, just kind of like looking around and identifying things, meeting someone new, searching this place for stuff and goodies, combat. It's probably a few hours. Few hours of fun. All right. Let's merge these and scale them up. Wait, I saw something about a fortitude. Okay, there it is. Creatures caught in the area of a powerful storm. Based on the size of the creature. That's dumb. So they make a fort save for getting blown away or knocked down or checked. That seems like... It seems clunky. Yeah, it seems really clunky. Back when we didn't have strength saves. So... we can say a grapple or a reflex. I think would be better. So either like grab and hold on to something, or you just like quickly, reflexively snap and grab something within reach. And potentially hold on. Grapple. Reflex. Probably like 4. Yeah. 4-ish. We'll add another note to ourselves. Wind effect on fail. All right, that makes more sense. Getting blown away is not like the absolute worst, but it is unfortunate. All right. Okay, so we need to cut and paste Thunderstorm. Actually, just Storm in general. Storms make range weapon attacks impossible. And we'll be pretty explicit with the players with the storm coming, because I'm sure they're going to ask if they can just kind of like make a lean-to across across some stones or something, and we'll be explicit that they need to create their own, like create a shelter if they're going to get through this without problems. Otherwise, I'll probably just do like non-lethal damage as kind of a counter, or like a counting system for weather effects and how they degrade a player. So they will be taking it, and I'll probably just use hypothermia mechanics for that. All right. 50 minutes. Let's figure out what these crystals fucking do. So, in canon, creatures can communicate through it. Growth and mutations are accelerated by crystals. The larger the crystal, the higher the growth or evolution, or I'm sorry, mutation. God damn it, I had the perfect word for it. Potential. The higher mutation or growth potential based on the crystal. A lot of trees grow around crystals in a lot of places, but Raugrin's fairly barren for the most part. We can get all our photos ready too. So let's do all the colors of the rainbow, because that's fun. So we'll get violet, not purple. Violet. Cobalt. Just like a rich blue. Slate gray. Slate blue. Teal. Aquamarine's more fun, I guess. Peridot. Like a yellow green. What would we call that? Chartreuse. Is there a color wheel online that we can look at? It's gotta be, right? Yeah, give it to me. Kelp. Okay. Celery. Chartreuse. Spinach. Wasabi is not that color. You get out of here. Yeah, chartreuse is good. Okay. Gotta use fun color names. Peridot. Chartreuse, boy. How do I spell that? I'm bad at this. Chartreuse. We were close. Chartreuse. Yellow ochre. Oh man, I should know how to spell that. Did I spell it right? Guess so. Yeah, yellow ochre. There's got to be like one in between here. Are you kidding me? Cow dung? Fuck yeah. What's like a good I spelled it with a J like an idiot. Citrine. Yeah, it's not a bad one. I mean topaz. Let's see, is citrine always that color? Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's fine. Where are we at? Yellow ochre. Citrine. Amethyst. Call it smoky blue. Smoky sapphire. Since we're just going all out at this point. Ruby. And then let's find a fun pink. Oh, there you go. Peach. Shit. Tourmaline. Wow, that's fucking pink. I like the rainbow, or the watermelons. Ooh, God, that looks so good. Tourmaline's good. And then goes around to amethyst. Are we missing any colors? I mean, we can lean into all of these. Cause that's like amethyst over here. Or even here. Yeah, let's find another good pink. Corundum. Maybe. Corundum's a lot. That's a lot of colors. It's good enough, I guess. Nah, we'll be fine with that. I think 10 is a nice number to be at. Then they all have different effects. They don't all have to be combative or statistical effects either. Though they likely will be. And then their effects also have a degree of effect based on how big the crystal is. Let's see. Peridot, I could see as like a communicative kind of crystal where things can almost like telepathically talk to one another through it. Communicative stone. So there are, in the canon, there are things called bonds, where humans can have bonds with a beast, two beasts can have a bond, two humans do not have a bond in this way. Through the bond, you're just like magically and linked by fate, and it's kind of random what you're bonded to. And you may go your whole life without realizing you've been bonded with something, and you may never meet that thing you've been bonded to. You might go out looking for it and find it. You may be born right next to the thing you're bonded with. We'll have to figure out bond mechanics as well. Actually, let's make sure truce. Communicative. Yellow ochre. Let's see. Ruby's an easy one. Resist fire. Smoky sapphire could be interesting. Could be like see-through fog, cloudy water. Firestone. Resist fire. Or buff fire. Tourmaline is pink. Citrine's orange. So smoky sapphire. Fogstone. See-through. Fog. Mist. And murky water. Aquamarine is fun. Ocean stone. Gills, fins. Pressure. Peridot, green. It should be growth, right? Growth stone. I have a way to fix the rarity problem in this. You have to find a pure stone of a single color to get the effect of it, and depending on how big that stone is, it's how great of an effect it has. Otherwise, most stones are mixed color or clearish. Clear. Mixed. Morning Stone. Okay, Growth Stone. Plant growth. And mutation rate increase. Yeah, I'm just capitalizing the first letter of everything. Get off my back. Cobalt. Should probably be cold. Is this cold or buff cold? Lightning Stone. Amethyst. Terran Stone. Land adaptations. Describes why things become amphibious and things might crawl out of the ocean and mutate to survive out here. Lungs, eyelids, hair, I fit, etc. Barely. There we go. Oh no. There we go. Alright, we still have citrine. Let's make all these italic, so I don't get too lost in it all. Citrine's orange. What do with orange? Make it the Windstone. Just so that we can have all the adaptations. Airborne adaptations. Wings. Feathers. Eyes. Bones. Tourmaline. Pink. Maybe you can change what yellow is. Yeah, I got it. No, we'll keep yellow lightning, just because, you know. is what it is. Tourmaline can be nocturnal. It'll be the Nightstone. Nocturnal adaptations. Eyes, skin, feet, etc. Yeah, so let's get one more gem in here for a daytime adaptation. The Gem Hut! Opal would be cool. Oh, fuck, that's nice. Woo! Baby. That looks... It's a really nice piece of jade. Chalcedony. Is it always like that? No. Well, that's the smoky we're looking for. Accidentally find the perfect thing. We'll make citrine it. And what's the opposite of nocturnal? Diurnal. I've never heard that. I don't think I've ever heard that word before, enough to ever plant it in my memory. Eyes, skin. What else is special about nocturnals? It's honestly a much shorter list other than sleep. Half an hour to game time. What did I take away from citrine? God, I can't undo anymore? Shit. I don't remember what citrine was. Is that wind? Yeah, it was. Okay. So perfectly clear. Windstone. Airborne. Adaptation. Eyes. Feathers. Wings. Etc. Alrighty dighty. So we got all this stones ready for them to play with as well, which could take a nice chunk of time out of what we need to prepare. And then anything mixed. Oop. Please go back. I don't know why my keyboard's not really responsive. I think it's just I can imply that it gets stronger as it goes. Pure note for us. Let's look at sizes. Like, what could we reasonably assume someone carry around with them? And like, I'm sure they could craft items out of the crystals as well to then try and wear and wield crystal. They could even try like piercing their body with a bunch of crystal to then get up to a certain size worth amount of crystal within the body. I think that'd be pretty fucking cool. Minutes. Let me check the Discord and make sure no one's... Okay, we're good. Oh, got some planning. Awesome. The player who's not getting killed tonight, but who is going to ultimately be left alone and behind, has some really, really badass plans, and I'm excited to see how this goes. Where we're going to be kind of like tag DMing a small wedge of this story, just for this specific part for. Whenever the rest of the party gets back. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be super cool. His brain works a lot differently than mine, so when we put both of ours together, I think we could make some pretty well thought out things. So size. Let's do pea-sized, quarter, golf ball, and then they start getting long at that point. What's like a long object? I guess we can just go by length. 4-inch, 12-inch, 24-inch, um, 12-inch, 32-inch, 60-inch. They're not gonna, you can't carry around anything more than that, I don't think. And if they do, we'll come up with the mechanics then. Pea-sized. Mundane facts. One in 10 chance. Resist 1. Damage +1. Let's see. Sight 10. I feel like we gotta make a chart. We gotta make a chart. Shit. Make a chart later because they're not really going to be able to fuck with too much yet, but we'll go with this kind of stuff. Baseline. Resist 15. Recover spell. Base plus 50%. Resist 20. Plus 2 CL. 1 in 5. That's for like mutations, adaptations, sites, that kind of a thing. That's like walking around with a staff of a pure crystal, which would be really good for casters. Or if you made like an entire spear out of crystal, it'd be pretty effective as a 60-inch. Be a chonky boy. Alright, I think we're pretty good for the most part. We have a lot of things to discover. We have the whole first half of the game to deal with a character death, them trying to get out of the dungeon before the death and after the death. And then it'll go to people on the beach. People on the beach have a library to look through, a new character to meet, things to search through and talk about, a combat, more discovery, searching around, lore dump, survival test, storm, surviving the storm, and anything with the crystals. I think we're pretty good. If we have to wrap it up early, it's not the biggest deal either. So we'll keep this here and we'll add on down for the next week as well. Alright guys, I think we're ready to go. I will see you all at 8 o'clock-ish. It's usually like 8:20, 8:30 because everyone runs late. So we all run on Lithuanian time. But I will see you then. Thanks for watching.